Christine's Dubai season. 1. A new chapter begins. The taxi rolled to a slow stop in front of a glass and steel tower in Business Bay. Its facade glinting like polished ice under the Dubai sun. Christine stepped out, adjusting her cream blazer. She took a breath. Warm air rushed into her lungs, heavy with the scent of sand and the faint salt of the Arabian Gulf. It was her first day at Adsphere Digital, the company where she hoped to start over. She had walked away from years in London's luxury hospitality industry, drawn to something new as EO, digital marketing, and the fast, ever-changing world of Google Ads. She wanted to prove to herself that she could reinvent her career. The lobby was silent when she arrived. A smooth marble floor reflected her steps, and a minimalist reception desk sat empty. Behind it, a brushed steel plaque read, "Punctuality appreciated." She checked the time. 8:20 a.m., 10 minutes early. Christine moved toward the corridor, where sunlight pooled in soft squares on the wall. She smoothed the strap of her handbag and waited. The sound of firm, unhurried footsteps echoed behind her. "Christine?" She turned. A tall man in a navy blazer stood in the doorway, smiling. He had an easy confidence, the kind that came from years of knowing exactly where he was headed. "Hi," she said quickly, extending her hand. "Pleasure to see you finally. Did you arrive well?" "Oh, thank you. Yes, all good. I found the office immediately. And the weather's nice today. Come on in," he said, gesturing toward the meeting room. "We'll get started right away." 2. The mentor. Asim Canadian accent, softened by years abroad, introduced himself as the regional director and lead strategist. He had spent a decade at Google running global campaigns, before deciding to build his own success here in Minna. The first session began immediately. He laid out the internship plan, an intensive SEO training course, real client projects, and the possibility of becoming a technical admin afterward. "SEO isn't just about keywords," he said, standing at the whiteboard. "It's about understanding human intent, what people are looking for, even before they know they're looking for it." Christine scribbled notes as fast as she could. But more than the words, it was his way of explaining the clarity, the conviction that drew her in. 3. Finding her pace. The days passed in a blur of new terminology and fast-paced tasks. On-page optimization, backlink audits, keyword heat maps. At first, Christine worried she'd never catch up. But by the end of the second week, she was already presenting a small report to Asim on one of their local clients. He leaned back in his chair, tapping the printed pages. "You've got a good eye for patterns," he said. "Not many people catch on this fast." She felt heat rise to her cheeks, though she wasn't sure if it was from pride, or the way his praise seemed to linger in the air. 4. Late nights in the office. By the third week, the workload intensified. Campaigns had deadlines. Clients wanted revisions yesterday. One evening, they were the last two in the office. The open floor plan lay in silence, lit only by the glow of their monitors and the amber spill of the city lights beyond the glass. Asim pushed back his chair. "Let's get dinner here, no point in both of us starving." The delivery arrived: Lebanese wraps, hummus, and mint tea. They ate at the conference table, their conversation drifting from analytics to travel, to the differences between Toronto winters and London rain. When she laughed, he looked at her, not just glanced, but looked, and she felt the room grow smaller, as though the walls had moved a little closer around them. 5. The first gesture. It was on a client visit day that happened. She'd been walking through a construction site for a location shoot when she slipped on uneven tiles. By the time she returned to the office, she was limping slightly. "You're hurt," he noticed instantly. "It's fine, just sore," she insisted. But an hour later, he reappeared with a small paper bag. Inside was a bottle of massage oil. "It'll help," he said, as if it were the most ordinary thing. She hesitated, then laughed softly. "You're prepared for everything, aren't you?" He didn't answer right away, just rolled her chair gently away from the desk and knelt beside her. His hands moved in slow, steady circles over the tense muscles of her calf, warm through the fabric of her trousers. At first, she tried to think about work, about deadlines, but her mind betrayed her, drifting toward the quiet rhythm of his touch. 6. Something unspoken. The second time was different. There was no excuse, no injury. Just another late night, papers spread across the desk, their voices low against the hum of the AC. "You're tense," he said quietly. "Let me help." She opened her mouth to protest but stopped. His hands rested on her shoulders, first firm. "Sure." Tracing away the knots of the day. She felt herself soften into the chair, her eyes closing without meaning to. When she opened them again, he was watching her, not in the way a boss watches an employee, but in a way that acknowledged something had shifted between them. 7. The ritual. It became a pattern. After hours, when the office was theirs alone, the conversations grew slower, their chairs a little closer. The massages came to feel like a language between them, unspoken yet fluent. She told herself it was harmless, a bit of comfort in a busy life. But she knew the way her breath changed when he leaned in, the way she noticed his cologne long after he'd left the room. 8. The gift. One evening, Asim returned from a trip to Riyadh with a neatly wrapped box. "A gift," he said, setting it on her desk. Inside was something sleek and discreet, designed for relaxation. Her eyes widened before she could hide her surprise. He only smiled. "You work too hard." She laughed, but the sound felt fragile in the space between them. 9. Drawn in. By now, her days revolved around their evenings. She was excelling in her role, completing reports and presenting strategies with confidence. But it was the after hours she anticipated most, the quiet hum of the office. The city spread out below like a field of stars. The steady warmth of his presence. She was in deeper than she'd meant to be. She knew it, but she didn't pull back. 10. The announcement. It was a Wednesday afternoon when everything shifted. Asim called her into the meeting room. His tone was calm, but there was a weight in his voice. "I need to tell you something," he began. "I'm moving to the regional headquarters. You'll be responsible for this office, as assistant to the new director." Her mind stilled. "When?" "Tomorrow." It felt like the floor had tilted beneath her feet. She nodded, trying to keep her voice steady. "That's sudden. Opportunities come fast here," he said gently. "You'll manage. You're ready." She wanted to tell him that readiness had nothing to do with it, that the thought of this office without him felt like a building with all the lights switched off. But she said nothing. 11. The last evening. That night she stayed late at her desk, though there was no real reason. She heard his footsteps approach. "Christine," he said softly. She turned. For a moment neither spoke. "Take care of this place," he said finally, his voice low. "I will," she whispered. 12. After. The next morning, his office was empty. A new nameplate appeared on the door by afternoon. Christine threw herself into the work, training the staff, managing clients, building campaigns. She succeeded. On paper, everything was moving forward. But some evenings, when the city lights bled into the office windows, she would pause at her desk and remember the quiet hum of those late nights, the warmth of his hands, the closeness that had never needed a name. Dubai had given her a career, yes, but it had also given her a season of connection brief. consuming, and impossible to forget.